There was only October 31 Monday. We haven't been that far yet, have we? The relationship status still all well. Yeah. A trade downpour starts after Monday. Although it doesn't last for more than an hour, the dark clouds lift just after the sun peaks over the horizon. Brief as it is, the rain has significantly damped the park's usual cheery vibe. Mornings like this often mark the start of another bad week. And the rest gone wrong, another investigation leading to a dead end, or some truly fucked up shit being called in. Like that one time I was dispatched to a scene where a guy carved his own eyeballs out and almost ate it. Was a few chews away from swallowing it, in fact. Lost my dinner that day.
Fun times.
Cause that anything can stop getting cursed by a damn chain ladder of all things. This is the sort of stupid thing people pass along as a prank through emails and text messages, for fuck's sakes. A ghost chasing after you just puts the icing on that cake. So far, all you've done is run, snoop about, rat stuff, and run again. It frustrates me to no end how it's still no closer to an answer. Even my car reflects the state my mind is in. Photocopies of documents litter every available surface, scattered all over the place, spilling from the passenger side and into the back seat, making an entire mess of what little space there is. Not that I'm any better. My last shower was 24 hours ago. I haven't slept at all, and my last meal was that chocolate porridge thing Isabella offered. The way I am now, I'll definitely get a scolding. Rebecca will definitely give me a earful and tell me to take care of myself better. Say that I'm killing myself on the job. I can already hear Isabella complaining how dark the bags on my eyes are getting and about how I reek and how I need to shower pronto.
I can rest easy when this is all over.
It's not that I can feel the pang of hunger. With that woman chasing after you, it's difficult not to feel anything other than horror. The rush of adrenaline coursing through my veins and my desperation to survive. In fact, I can still sense the ghost of her touch from the last night. Her bony digits wound tightly around my ankle and that horrid smile she has on her as she pulls me closer. The memory is enough to send a shiver up my spine and make me not unsee. Perhaps the only thing comforting about it is the sight of my gun nearby. From my dashboard, sunlight glints off Ophelia's surface. Alright, so here's Shirley, and here's Ophelia. Bam, bam. Normally, I keep it hidden in a compartment. Luxbourne police regulations only allows authorized people to carry firearms, and even those are limited. I do have that authorization, but I never really saw the need for it to use. When the standard issue tasers are more than good enough to incapacitate anyone. If not, I can always throw them in their back. Those judo lessons that forced me to get as a kid had its uses too. On a ghost store, all of those will probably yield the same result. They're all useless. I might as well use a stick. However, it's a feeling of ease I'm after, or what little of it I can get to come from it. The awareness that I, at least, have something to protect myself with in case things go wrong. That I can still protect the people who are still depending on me despite the missteps I've taken. It doesn't take the edge off at all. The feeling that your whole body has been strained far beyond its capacity. Frankly, I'm already running out of steam. The only thing pushing me right now is knowing someone's still depending on me. A stretch is still an order. I've been sitting here since last night. Soon I step out of my car, closing it behind me with thought as I take in my surroundings. The rain did wonders. The morning air feels crisper and cooler than it has ever been in days. For once the weather seems to be taking a turn for the normal. Luxbourne Normal. In the distance, beyond the buildings lining the horizon, dark clouds are blowing in. That doesn't bode well.
A storm might be due this evening, give or take.
A shame for the people looking forward to Halloween tonight. I'm just not sure whether this is something I can look forward to as well. Still, I bask in the change it brings. Inhale. Exhale. Breathing in, taking the peace as if it were my last. But as with all the good things, the quiet shortly comes to an end. Not necessarily a bad end. The chatter reaches my ears first, holding my movements. Sure enough, when I glance up, I find them. Zach, Rebecca, and Isabella, just as they've entered the park grounds, bags of convenience store food in hand. After last night's flight from Salemville, we've elected to stay the night here, unsure if our homes will still be safe. Normally, we'd all be adverse to the idea of spending the night outside like this, but panic and distress has tainted that decision. It's not like any of us has gotten an ounce of sleep anyway. On the off chance one of us did, it only lasted but a second, or it's a fitful one. Well, they must be very tired. But looking at them right now, from afar, it's easy to mistake them for just a group of friends on a day out. Isabel's gesturing widely with her arms as she talks. Something funny or amusing, probably, but it's soon followed by Zach's booming laughter and Rebecca's giggles. Their voices fill the atmosphere with light air, temporarily easing off the disheartening mood. It's easy to pretend we're not knee-deep in life and desperation the way they're acting now. If anything, it's only their appearance that betrays that mask. Slightly disheveled, bags under their eyes, an exhausted curve in their shoulders, and dragging footsteps. But the closer they get, the more obvious these signs are to the naked eye. Zach tosses an energy drink my way to move the distance allows it. Isabel hands me the other bag she's holding, before seating herself on the edge of the fountain. The scent of warm food immediately wafts from the bag when I open it, carried further by a passing breeze. Whatever sweet sauce they twisted up this pork wannabe, it smells heavenly. Hell, even the sorry-looking vegetables seem appetizing. Despite myself, without even checking exactly what this is, hunger simply takes over every rational thought. I take in without waiting for them to start. The rest of them appear to be of the same mind too. Soon enough, they all start with theirs. No casual talk while we fill our empty stomachs. Exhausted as we all are, food is something we can't forego. Starvation tolls of thinking, weakens the body. If we are to survive this, we're gonna have to take care of ourselves first. In a matter of minutes, we're done and dumping the empty cartons on a nearby waste bin, along with it a shift in the mood. Back to this mall, back to the problem at hand. The comfortable atmosphere from minutes ago was nice while it lasted. Admittedly, I've missed these kinds of moments between us. We never had a chance. Always busy on some project or work. The things we've taken for granted. Now we have realized how valuable they are. The world has an awful sense of humor. While the one we've just had is short-lived, it's not a thing I want to look forward to. If we ever free ourselves from this damn curse, I'd like to believe there's a way. For now we have to focus back on the present, on this, that people, the letter, the curse. It's not simple to bring these up, but necessary.
What now? Where do we go from here?
It's not a question directed at anyone in particular, but they all look to me as if my face has all the answers in the world. I used to think so, back when I was at the top of my game and I'm still sure of everything. Now there's just uncertainty surrounding whatever decision I come up with. At some point, logic has simply stopped working here and we've started grasping at straws. Along with exhaustion, fatigue and stress, you have enough kindling to get a fire burning. The not so pleasant kind of fire.
Well, first, we can't just stay here. That much is obvious.
But we can't just keep running like this either, Becca. Sooner or later, she'll...
As if we have a choice. We can't even go back to our own homes because that thing might get us. No, we're safe. But dying is the last thing I want to do right now, Isabella. Not to a stupid chain letter you were too gullible to pick up, bring with you, and show to everyone.
I didn't do it on purpose. Becca, had I known, I wouldn't have...
Hey, you two. None of us want to die to this. Just calm down. We ain't getting anywhere shouting at each other.
Whose side are you on, Zachary?
No one's. But we can't just say it's her fault. She did warn us not to open it, and both you and Ashton...
That doesn't exempt her from any blame. She's still largely responsible for it.
And you're not?
I didn't say that! Do you really think I don't blame myself for this as well?
Oh, this is what you get with your lack of sleep.
I tried to warn all of you. None of you listened. Now you're blaming me for something I kept telling you guys since day one? You're just as responsible for this as I am.
So now, you're throwing it back at us. We wouldn't even be having this problem if you're...
Will you two cut it out? This ain't the place for I don't know, petty squabbles.
If you don't want to get caught in it, then stay out of this, Zachary.
Oh no, Zach. Don't stop her. Let her say it. I'm sure she has plenty more to say. If I didn't know any better, she's already...
Already what? You want me to say it? Out loud? That I find you in this whole thing?
All right, that's enough. Everyone, shut up.
Thank you, Ashton. They all follow the signs of my words, and an awkward, stiffening mood descends between us. I do not mean to shout, to snap at them, to add to that kindling, on a moment when any time, anywhere she might get to one of us. We're all in the same boat, yet here we are, playing the blame game. Little by little we're falling apart, giving in to the pressure, to the bleak situation we're trapped in. Did the ghosts mean this to happen? To defy each of so she can pick us off one by one right after? Who knows? Anything's possible now her kind can exist. With the fire burning between us rising as high as it does now, I'm afraid. Deadly afraid. There's a possibility it might come sooner than I can figure all of this out. Fuck, I still can't think straight. I can't even believe the next words come out of my own mouth. That out of everyone, I have to be the one saying these to them. This is more their forte than mine. Keeping the peace, placating everyone, while I unintentionally aggravate people with badly chosen words. Funny how fast tables have been turned after just one unfortunate incident. How am I even supposed to cope?
If we all want to get out of this mess in one piece, we're gonna have to cool our heads first.
Before my own temper flares, I walk away and slide back into my car. If the door slams with more force than needed, I like to blame it on the pent-up anger boiling up in me. I'm not even sure what or who I'm angry at. The ghost? At them? Maybe at myself for being this useless. Because despite none of them saying it, I know, God, they're still counting on me. In spite of my failures, or if every harsh word I've uttered, and how unbearable I can be as a friend. It's there when the tension after our argument finally breaks, and one by one they follow me and get in the car. It's in concerned glances they shoot my way when I start the engine without a word and drive off. It's in their silence, a happy gift, their unwavering trust. Yet it's one I'm more than willing to carry, even through my own exhaustion, if only to keep them safe. in this city of 68,000 strangers, they're the only ones I have left. Though in all seriousness, a good rest is still our best bet for now. Thinking with an exhausted brain is almost as good as running around in circles. You might as well just throw yourself to the ghosts and be done with this. The local Irish pub may not be the best place to hang around when one hasn't slept a wink or you're stressed. More often than not, it's loud. Sometimes the music played by drunkards grates the ears and the whole place smells like piss on a bad day. All in all, it's the very definition of the last place I'll hang around after a wakeful night. But it's safe. Or as safe as it can be with chief security watching the place. Makes it easy to find help in case you find yourself in a tight spot. The place being owned by a person I've implicitly placed my trust on provides some semblance of comfort too. Gregor, spelled a G or G to his regular patrons, might be rough around the edges. Some's a bit too gruff for a man serving drinks behind the counter, but it belongs to the good folk of this city. If there's anyone in this place I can rely on to look after people important to me, it's probably him. He means well, surprisingly, despite his surly demeanour, cares to some extent for people he likely only sees once or twice a week or on a bad day. Not the best job in the world, in my opinion, but that's exactly it, isn't it? In wine, there is truth. Alcohol, in this case. It loosens the tongue, forces one to let his or her guard down. Whatever inhibitions anyone has, it all flies straight out the window after a few glasses. It has made him observant too. Always has one or two things to say about someone or something. Most of the time it's me, opinionated ass. But God knows how many times I've asked for his help when I'm met with a dead end in a case or I'm in trouble. This time's no different. As expected, the moment we show up, he's kind enough to offer us a room at the back of his shop. A single look at my face, I don't even need to say anything, and the next thing you know, he's letting us in. No questions asked. Maybe it's also for this reason why I find myself looking towards his station hours later, and I don't got that much needed shut eye. Newly washed drinking glasses and tumblers line the counter service when I enter the room. Behind the bar, G's busy wiping each of them clean, like he prepares for tonight's use. Briefly glances at me, once I claim one of the empty stools and grab a rocks glass sitting closest to my elbow. Turning it absent-mindedly in my palm, just to keep my hands occupied while my brain's busy, still trying to make sense of everything. My husband just got home from work and he scared the crap out of me. Dag schatje, welkom terug. Oh mijn god man, ik verschot mijn bult. Jesus. Even at a dead hour, with only a few patrons milling about, this place still smells strong of liquor. Honestly, I've never grown fond of it. Regardless of how many times I've made a trip, I've sat here, on the same spot, just talking to the old man. I've never been fond of drinking in the first place. Yet oddly, it's the nasty odor of the brewery that helps clear the mind this time. Along with the lack of the establishment's usually hop-up and occasional clinking of glasses. Even more bizarre is that, through my lack of words, she doesn't say anything. Although it's clear from the way his mouth is curved up in a tight frown that he has questions. A bucket load of it. He wisely keeps it shut. Instead, he simply focuses back on his work. Rinse, wipe, stash away, repeat. Going through the motions with such familiarity, it's almost a trance. Watching his precise movements quietly like this, with these thoughts swimming inside my head, it's easy to lose track of everything around me. One solid lead on this, one possible way to sort this out, but will it work? especially if my assumption's correct and that the reason Zach was there yesterday morning was because of the curse. Something must have happened there for him to see the need to visit the place that morning. What if the couple has fallen victim to the curse too? It doesn't fall outside the realm of possibility. I've been so biased, even thinking that they might be in danger as well. But during the open house with Isabella, he might have seen the letter and...
Stupid, stupid, stupid. Some fucking detective I am.
That's like the moment when Cooper saw it. If the logic holds, I need to hurry there right away. And if there are answers anywhere, it will be there. It should be there. Where all of this fucking mess started. They sure swear a lot in this story. It's not only my life on the line here. There are others. What happened to us? I won't wish on anyone else, no matter how much I loathe them. Or how complicated all of this has suddenly become. The letter, the woman, the mansion, and now there are the voices lacing venom inside every graphic in my head. Murmurs that jeered, scoff, and deride whenever opportunity presents itself.
It's because you didn't listen.
Are you going beyond the two, Ash? Someone from your past?
It's all your fault. Why won't you believe me?
Now I hear the difference. It's Zach, Rebecca, and Isabella. A reminder of what I failed to do and of who I failed. At some point they all begin to blur together, twining and coiling, every horrid image and memory of her, sitting in the forefront of my mind. No matter how much I refuse to remember the fear I felt then, to push it as far back as I can, the visions come to me like a deluge. And before I know it, before I can drown, another voice pulls me out of it.
You doing good there, boy?
He's standing on my shoulders, gripping it tightly and giving me a light shake. There's relief in his face when I finally look up at him, although his frown appears more distinct than the concern in his eyes. It's deeper now, marked with worry and agitation. He does let go when I offer him a small nod, but the furrow between his eyebrows never leaves his face. He always has a knack for reading people, after all. Even someone who can be as closed off or distant like me. In all the time I've spent in the force, there's only one other person who is as keen as this old guy. The Chief. Funny, admit to some degree. I've pointed out to him so many times before how much they look alike, only for the observation to be brushed off with a vehement tone. I've never brought it up again after the third time, out of respect for the guy. Whatever it is, it's clearly something he doesn't want to talk about. Are they related then? Family maybe? Had a squabble? Why push, right? However, during times like this, it's impossible for the thought not to come up. He even has the glide down pat. Under his wordless scrutiny, I feel like a damn rookie again.
You're looking a bit green. Sure you got plenty of rest back there? You were only out for an hour or two. Wouldn't hurt to try and get some sleep. I'll keep an eye out.
No need. Don't worry about me. I won't be able to get some sleep anyway.
Not with her face still a clear picture in my head now.
Dad heard that from you before. Not buying it. What's the story this time? This as bad as that case with the guy who ate his own eyeball?
I wish it were. Jesus, stop reminding me. I hated that case. If I didn't know any better, I'd say you get a kick out of telling people about it.
It's useful, you know, for blokes who don't know their limits. Sends them right out the door after I start with a description. Or was it the part when the poor schmuck gouged his eyes out? Nasty, awful, icky stuff, and it gets the job done. Like I said, useful.
I can understand why.
Don't even need to call security these days if I want to kick someone out. Anyway, pretty sure that pales in comparison to whatever this is now. I haven't seen you this stressed out since they closed that case. The one from 10 years ago with your professor friend.
Abigail and her team weren't able to solve that one, G. No one has been able to. It just went cold.
Same difference. But what do I know, eh? I just serve drinks, listen to people's problems and their whining, then make sure they get home safe afterwards. Thing is,
Thing is, what?
I'm also not blind, kiddo. And you can bet your ass I can tell when a person's about to fall apart.
What? Is this some form of therapy from you? Are you going to offer me free drinks now?
Really? I can use some right now. Something to numb the senses. But when has it helped anyone?
In your dreams, kid. Last time someone gave you the hard stuff, your photographer friend had to haul you out of this place almost half naked.
Hey, I can handle my liquor when I put my mind to it.
Not from what I've seen, nope. Besides, you usually avoid drinking. Either way, it's out of the equation. And when booze no longer counts, we just talk. So it's not like anyone within earshot will care. That chap over there only wants his cricket matches.
I doubt you believe it, G.
I've heard worse stuff. Try me.
You know that mansion down at Anslem?
Yeah, who doesn't? You live in this town long enough, it's impossible not to hear a thing or two about it. Bloody locals.
Well, my friend found a primitive version of a chain letter in there. Now that we've seen it, we're cursed.
It beat passes. For a long moment, Chi stands there, unmoving. His hand stopped short of place the glass he's been wiping prior back to a rack on his left. All while he stares at me with eyes that are nothing short of scrutinizing. He probably assumes I'm joking. Who wouldn't? Not a week ago, I've been put in the same position. Even now, in spite of the things I've seen and heard, it simply won't sink in. Or maybe this is just desperation creeping in? The idea that I may not be able to find a way out of this. Whatever the case is, for people who hasn't experienced what I'm going through, this'll merely sound like an awful Halloween prank.
It's not a prank.
This must have been what Isabella felt the whole time you made fun of her today.
This isn't a prank. I saw something.
Now it's too late. We're stuck in a never-ending nightmare. My only way out might be death. And like I've expected, Chi's reaction to it, an amused laughter. It booms throughout the whole pub after a long bout of silence. Like I've just told him a particularly funny joke.
Okay. Good one, kid. You don't want to spill. No one's forcing you. Seriously, though. Good one.
But I want to be angry with him. I can't find it myself. Can even muster the energy for a scold or glare. Not from the taste of my own medicine to dampen the annoyance bubbling up in me, I suppose. In the end, echoing her words is the best I can do.
It's not a joke.
Yeah, alright, good luck with that. You're on your own. Here I thought you didn't have an ounce of humour in that body. Guess I'm wrong.
He shakes his head, lets out another chuckle before returning to his task. But now almost half the glasses have been put away. The only ones remaining are the smaller kind, used for shots and stamped ones for cocktails. Despite being busy with his task, his amused does not entirely disappear from his face. He keeps talking as if I'm simply not a customer he entertains with his stories. But we both know it's more than that, if the wistful expression on him says anything.
Man, can't believe you're the same rookie who walked in here almost a decade ago. Too smart for his own good, that boy. Has always been 2 steps ahead of things. Now he's here, sulking.
I must have screwed up somewhere then.
I must have screwed up a lot. For things to suddenly shift like this, me to become a mere shell of the person I used to be.
Nah, I don't think so. This one, screwed up? Not by a mile. It's too early to say. You've still got several years ahead of you, Holmes. Take it easy. But some things change, eh? It has been years, and you were a kid back then. You know, the sort that's a bit unsure, making all the horrible decisions in life he'd eventually be embarrassed to talk about.
You never stopped calling me kid, though.
Well, you still are. It's just that this time, you're sure of who that badge and gun is for. What was it you police types usually say? To protect and serve, yeah?
A significant pause follows at its heels. From both of us, as he allows its meaning to sink in and spur something in me, stirring a feeling both heavy and full but not completely unwelcome. Familiar. So, before I can even clarify what he's trying to imply or gather my thoughts on the matter, Chi turns away to begin his work on the silverwares. He'll need those too, once more of his patrons come in for lunch. Slow and easy, a sharp contrast of the strained air we've been wading through these past weeks. A fleeting moment, but only one I allow myself to relish, if only because of its absence lately. But waiting's are now. It is almost a gift. So when it all ends with the loud shuffling of foot from the adjacent hallway, the silence all at least may. There's no need for me to look up to know who it is. Zach's streets along are telling. They're always a way that's said to them. So well taken with a lazy cadence. Like he's always trying to make himself smaller, less conspicuous than he actually is. In a place he's so unfamiliar with, he also tends to linger, stand awkwardly at the sides, as if he's all too afraid to break something. That or he's waiting for permission of some kind. Either way, he's never been the kind to barrel headfirst to things or forgo courtesy, despite appearances. Much like how Rebecca's mother handling Billy's her fiery temperament, or Isabel's right to space of maturity appears at odds with her youth. There has been a lot of those in my life, it seems, more so from the people I've grown close to over the years. Walking contradictions we all are. It's a wonder how we ended up as friends in the first place. But maybe that's also exactly why. To some extent, there's still understanding in there, in knowing that no matter how long you've been together, or how familiar you are with a person's habits, or how many lifetimes there might be for all of you, one can never fully know the person. Sometimes it works because they merely choose to stay. Sometimes it's as simple as someone extending a hand first for an apology, regardless of every hurtful word said.
Hey, Ash?
This time I glanced at him, briefly, copying the mood. Not because reconciliation an issue for me. Between us, it never will be. But somehow this is another thing I'm all too afraid to see crumbled in front of me. One wrong word, if this is going to end in another argument, might as well stop as early as now. There's another long pause from him, during which he can't seem to figure out what to do with his hand. In the end, he chooses to stuff both into his pockets and train his eyes at the now empty space behind the counter. Without our notice, Gia slipped back to the kitchen, leaving only the two of us and everything awkward in the world at the moment. Still Zack struck down, high hopeful tones slipping into his voice, simply because it's the only thing he knows to do.
Did you, get any sleep?
It's a start at least. A stiff one, but a start. The least I can offer in return is that rare honesty.
For a few hours, yeah.
Curt, brusque, not an ounce of friendliness in it. In spite of it, Zack takes it as a sign. Relief washes over him as his shoulders relax and he releases a tense breath. Soon he's closing the distance he has put between us and flops into the chair to my right.
I think the better question is if the dreams are pleasant. And for the record, no.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I get those a lot.
He shifts in his seat, coughs, drums his fingers on the counter for a short while, then falls silent. That's it. No apologies. Somehow, the short exchange is all we need. The air changes again, and much like everything we've known lately. Maybe not for the better, not yet. However, it's less suffocating, with less hostility and resentment. The kind where it's easy to pretend and easy to forget. Not it's a thing that'll happen anytime soon, but one can dream. In a situation where death might come knocking at any time, it's these little hope we cling to. It's these little things we wish will happen again. I'm not an optimistic person by nature. Hopefully, maybe, but never optimistic. Though I once believed there's a way we'll live through this nightmare. It's just funny how it took all of this to spur these kinds of thoughts in me. I don't remember the last time something like it has occurred to me. For some reason, after seeing one harrowing thing after another, I've simply forgotten.
Why are you suddenly smiling like that?
Huh? Oh, no, I was just thinking about something.
Well, it better be something that'll get us out of this mess.
What makes you think I know how to fix this? Until 2 days ago, I didn't even believe a word you guys have been telling me. Zach, I function better when I'm dealing with homicide cases. Hell, feel free to throw in the usual robbery and missing persons case into the mix. I don't care. Give me a few days and I'll give you a lead. This isn't how I operate. This isn't what I'm good at. For all you know, I might even end up getting us killed. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Well, the fact that you're frustrated but still trying already means something, Ash. Besides, you don't make that face unless you already have an idea. It can't be any worse than this. Maybe. What's on your mind, Ash?
There really is something about Seaman. Between Rebecca and him, I tend to share with him things I wouldn't normally say to Elder. Unlike her, who pushes sometimes with the same tenacity as her moods, Zack has this strange tendency to ease people into telling him what he wants to know. Oftentimes, the question feels so subtle it catches me off guard. It less false and more forbearance. After all, out of everyone, he's the most grounded. Really, he's like the older brother I never had. The kind you can depend on when things go sour. The kind you tell things to simply because he listens, without forcing his own opinions on you.
We still have one more lead we haven't checked. I'm gonna look into it tonight.
It doesn't take him long to put two to two together, and his calm expression abruptly dissolves to worry. The second he realizes what I meant, we've already examined the letter, read through piles of documents. There's really only one we haven't given a once over. The mansion. Of course, Zack may not be the kind to push. Doesn't mean he agrees with everything that comes out of my mouth. It's his way of keeping me steady and on my feet through the years.
Hold on, didn't you tell me not to go in there? Whatever happened to stay away from Luke Wright?
You're an unarmed civilian, Zach.
And so?
So, I want you to stay here and keep yourself safe. I probably won't take too long, but I don't know what might happen. I'm not even sure if I'll find something in there. G will keep an eye on you guys. If you need anything, if that woman shows up, just holler. He'll help out, no questions asked. You don't even need to explain anything.
He's not willing to concede, not on the manner he grips his knees or the rigid set to his jaw.
I'm going with you. You can't go in there alone, Ash. I heard something. The morning I was there, I heard someone scream and then there was a woman crying, and I don't know what's going on inside that mansion, but I am telling you, you shouldn't face whatever's inside alone.
Before I can stop myself, a heavy breath escapes from my mouth. It's one of those times again where Zack means well, but he's completely missing the point I'm trying to make. When things take a turn for this, when he gets in a mood like this, he's almost as headstrong as Isabella. How and where do I even start? Next kick side, shall we? There we go. There are only two ways this will end. I agree with him and take him with me, or I agree with him and drop the idea altogether. Neither appeals more than the other, especially when we're all desperate for answers and a way out. If all of it takes little more honesty to make him drop this harebrained idea, so be it.
Look, man. Bro. Z-Man. Zach. Zachary, listen. I know you only want to help.
Like hell! This ain't just about helping, Ashton! You're throwing yourself in the thick of it on your own! Was your fall last night really that bad? Did you hit your head hard? I honestly can't tell if you've gone stupid or just plain suicidal.
My head's okay, Zach, but it won't stay that way if we don't do anything about this. Someone has to.
Seriously, this is already a desperate move. The longer we dally, the faster we're losing options. Do you even have one? Looking back at it, this whole business with the ghost seems perfectly set up to drive us into a corner. Either until we lose our minds or she gets us. It's starting to feel as if there isn't an escape. We've already become her playthings the second Isabella found that letter. That our lives are in her hands ticks me off big time. But the idea of watching the people I care about die helplessly, more so. They are much safer here than with me. It's a selfish thought, I know, born out of fear. So in case things go awry, the very last thing I want to happen is for Zach to take the fall with me. I've already made enough mistakes.
And that means it's just you.
Just me.
Suddenly he clams up. Although his actions, the restless shift in his shoulders, his mouth pressing close in a tight line, and how he starts off again in a quiet note. It all gives away his real thoughts, long before two words have even made it out of his mouth.
I'm sure you already know about this. Maybe this is you trying to make amends, or whatever. I don't know. You're making your own decisions here. But if something happens to you, it'll be just that. You'll just be another dead body out there. Please, don't do something like this.
Don't worry, I'm not stupid enough to get myself killed. I just want things to go back to normal, Zach.
Another dead air follows at the heels of that one admission. The meaning of my words too heavy, too striking. It stuns us into another lull. Optimism aside, we're both aware that it's impossible. We're going to have to deal with the trauma right after. There will be the images, the voices whispering inside our heads, the foreboding feeling, the stench of blood, gore and death thrilling after us. We may survive this, but those things, they will remain in us for a long time. One does not survive something like this without it leaving something in you. Just a mere thought of what might come right after makes me dread it. What this has changed in all of us. But I suppose that outcome is more acceptable. Less of the two evils.
3 hours.
My head snaps up and I turn to him, puzzled. He's laying his hands with a thoughtful expression, brows furrowed in deep concentration. Like he's trying to choose the right words to convey what he's about to say.
3 hours? For what?
That's more than enough time to go there, to check things, like you said, and travel back here. If you don't show up here beyond that, I'm going after you.
From his tone, it sounds almost like a warning. I'm sure it's not his intention. But hearing something like that from a person like Zach, I can't help but chuckle and throw in a jibe, despite how dire things are. Just like the old times.
Make that 4.
What? You said you're just gonna check things. Why would you even need that long?
Speed limit? I'm a ranked law enforcement officer, Zach. I'm supposed to set an example.
I so wanna punch you right now.
Of course, Zach never carries it out. In light moments like this, it's just how he is. It's how we are. Unfortunately, he chooses the next moment to show up. He slams the flat of his palm on the counter and is shooting us both a stern look. Although his tone's nothing short of jovial, the disapproval is clear in it. He's obviously misunderstanding the situation.
Boys, drummer's nice and all. I used to watch these bloody god-awful afternoon serials with one of my brothers many, many years ago. But listen, I am not having one in my pub, all right? You two want to fight? Go out.
A pregnant pause. Then without any preamble, Zack and I are both snickering and Cheese glow melts into confusion. When we both show no signs of stopping, he simply shakes his head and turns away. I'd like to think it's better this way. But that we part on light terms, so Zack won't have to see every little insecurity, every little doubt in me right now. He's seen enough. The last thing I want him to glimpse is another display of weakness. Knowing he still stares at me with the same unerring confidence in his eyes. When our mirth dies down, before anything can be said further, before I change my mind, I step away from them, giving Zack's shoulder a quick few pats, mumbling a lame excuse about taking another short nap under my breath. Altogether burying the straight thought that flashes fleetingly in my head. Zack has seen me at my lowest plenty of times. Why does all of it matter now? The sun hangs lower when I stumble back into consciousness and drag myself downstairs. Around this time, the patrons usually start to trickle into the main lounge until it reaches a peak around midnight. Today, however, it remains thin. But considering what day it isn't too worrisome for the kind of business she runs. He has always complained about the lack of a decent crowd on week starts, although he doesn't really begrudge his customers for it. No one wants to start a week with a bad case of hangover after all, even him. Which makes the concerned look he gives me come off a bit too old. With the kind of danger we're in, this swiftly puts me on the edge, even before sleep completely fades my mind.
Something wrong, G?
G hums, but there's an undertone of annoyance in it despite his casual and open movements. And only after he finishes wiping a tumbler and carefully settles his face down on the table does he give me an answer. The way he stares back at me honestly makes me squirm. It feels like I'm being stared down by my primary school teacher for sleeping in class again.
Nothing much. Monday's still a slow day for this place. But you might want to check on your friends, kid. Looks like one of them woke up on the wrong side of the bed while you were out.
Another question forms in my head along with a small confused brow. Frown. Rebecca? And before a single syllable slips past my mouth, Rebecca's irritated voice rings out from some part of the main lounge. How could we guess? From the sound of it, it appears woke up on the wrong side of the bed is completely an understatement.
Alone? You know we can't just go in there. But we don't have any other choice, Becca. There's really no other way. We have to go there. If you'll just...
Isabella, no.
That doesn't sound too comforting. Once Rebecca assumes that kind of turn an argument with Isabella, it usually ends with one of them walking out or both giving the other the silent treatment. It lasts for about a week, that's for about a week, at most if it's really bad, which really isn't what we need right now. I've hoped the bad blood from this morning will simply blow over, and that all of us has gotten a decent rest. I should have expected things won't be the same with them as it is with Zack and I. Turns out, sleep isn't just what some of us need. Even Chi appears to understand it. In spite of his efforts to look as unconcerned as possible, there's a tense set on his shoulders. A nervous edge lingers in his eyes, as it occasionally flickers over where Rebecca and Isabella's voices are coming from. He doesn't want to deal with this, especially at the start of another busy week. Neither do I. Things have worked out well between them before without Zack or I meddling. But the imploring gaze G directs at me leaves me with no other choice. It almost feels like he's guilting me into doing something about it. I hate that it's working.
You know how I run this pub, kid. No fist fights, no cat fights, only good booze, bad puns, and off-key singing. Go fix it before it blows up in your faces. I'd hate to throw two girls out of this place over a petty argument.
It's probably not as petty if Rebecca already shouting like that. but I give him a nod nevertheless.
Sorry about this, G.
He hums something under his breath for an answer and waves me off, turning away and returning to his work without another word. Even with the lack of sizable crowd, he likes to keep busy. We're the same in that regard. He can't remain still, always has to stay moving, doing something, thinking, whatever keeps the brain at work. I leave him to it shortly after. Rebecca's voice rings out once again, followed by Isabella's. Go have a look, dude. But part of me wants to thank him for all the trouble he has taken for people he barely even know. Once this is over, I should probably find some way. In the meantime, I have this immediate problem to fix. Gotta get to this before it turns into a shitstorm both of them will regret. I am trying to change my light. There we go. And I know both of them will. For all of Isabella's complaints about Rebecca's bossy attitude, or how annoying Rebecca sometimes finds the other childlike demeanor, it's a friendship they both cherish in their own way. Rebecca's already on her feet when I spot them in almost the deserted area of the pub. I'm willing to bet my entire life savings that people are staying away only because of the brewing storm. Rebecca can have quite a mood when she's crossed. I can speak for Isabella. I rarely ever see her seating, but from what I've heard, it can be very unpleasant. The way she's glaring up at the red hat from the seat, regardless of how much the other woman towers over her right now, already says everything. Empty plates have been left neatly piled on one corner of the table they occupy, and conversation turns sour sometime after late lunch then. Good thing they're already done and nothing left to be spilled. Because in the next moment, before I can approach and intervene, Rebecca slams her palm on the table. It sends the silverware clingingly, sharply against the surface. Isabella flinches momentarily. We both do, though she shows no indication of surrendering in the face of Rebecca's temper. Everything escalates from there.
You've already gotten us in enough trouble because of this let a ghost everything.
You're blaming me again!
And you can't expect everyone to fix your mess.
You keep on putting the blame on me, but you're the one who didn't listen. All of you!
Oh, this again?
If you just listened in the first place, maybe this wouldn't have happened. But you're too busy acting like you know what's best for everyone, when in fact you're the one who's being selfish.
I'm the one who's selfish. Yet you're still going to do what you want anyway, even if the people around you are already beside themselves with worry. This is how you've always acted since we met, and I'm tired of it. Sometimes I wish you never even came here, because all you've given us is a headache.
You know why I had to come here. My dad.
Your dad has nothing to do with this. It has always been you and your whiny, careless self that has always been the problem.
Harsh. Maybe I should have stepped in earlier. Maybe I should have said something the moment Rebecca had slammed the flat of her hand on the table, or the second I've entered the area. Either way, it's too late to act. Harsh words have already been hurled between the two, and it's not easy to take them back. Words more cutting than any blade, each and every one of it digging a wound too deep in the person they've been aimed at. For a long time Isabel sits there in silence, while Rebecca stands unmoving, arms crossed and breathing heavy. Despite the lack of words between them, they're both vibrating with anger, refusing to meet the other's eyes. Ever so slow, the atmosphere in the room turns thick and smothering. A strained air no one in the immediate vicinity, including me, dares to break until the one at its center does so. Rebecca definitely won't. At some point in our friendship, she has grown to become a woman firm with her opinions. She's never going to back down from this, not when she knows she has a point. Isabel, on the other hand, there's always been certain stubbornness in her. As frustrating it is to see sometimes, it's what has gotten her through life's hardships. Perhaps even the only thing that has. They have nothing else. People tend to cling on to what they have within themselves instead. But she also knows when to withdraw, when a struggle turns useless. A kind of awareness almost second nature to her. When enough is enough, Isabella abruptly stands and marches towards the exit, in fast, rigid steps, away from the hurt and painful words they've left fly earlier. She bumps into me in a haste, the impact nearly knocking her off her feet. Instinct kicks in at the last moment, and I reach out for her, grabbing her arm in a steadying grip. Surprise flits across her face, an expression mirrored by Rebecca behind her. Neither of them have noticed me. However, that doesn't mean I won't have things to say about this. Let's make a quick save. I think that now we are going to choose, since our love meter is quite up for the both of them, we are going to choose who's going to be his girlfriend, I think. Are you going to choose Isabella? Or are you going to choose Rebecca? I have more of the feeling that she feels for his feelings for him. I get more of the sibling vibe though, so I'm not going to do it. I really like his band with Isabella, so I'm going to go for Isabella. Let me know what you would like. I'm going to do both after then. Okay, so she's maxed out. Right, an answer. Once her shock subsided, she merely averts her gaze and hastily wipes the tears off her cheeks, like she only noticed them in that moment. Without another word or even meeting my eyes again, she gently brushes away my hand and runs off, leaving an awkward hush in her wake. Rebecca soon slumps on the chair Isabella's just left, gingerly reaching up to press the bridge of her nose and breathing out a ragged exhale. Arguments like this have always drained both her patience and energy, usually more than her rowdy students do, besides being no stranger to it. It's no excuse for her to say those things though, and my disapproval must be clear enough on my face. When she finally glances back at me, her exhaustion immediately shifts back to annoyance, her mouth going down to a tight frown. I grasp my arms in response, waiting, a reaction verging on instinctive in the face of her irritation. Regardless of my opinions about this, I don't say anything yet, not until she's the one willing to talk. Another minute passes while we stare each other down, but eventually she breathes out again and relaxes her rigid posture.
What do you want, Ash? If you have something to say, just tell me, or I'm going back upstairs.
Did you really have to say it like that?
Well, how do you want me to answer her? Do you want me to just let her go there and do what she wants? I know you won't be too happy if I did that.
That's a low blow, Rebecca. Even for you. We all know she wasn't even planning on staying here this long. There was no need to bring it up if all you wanted to do was stop her.
Did you even see how she's acting? She's not a child anymore. Even my students can do better.
Becca, she'll listen if you'll just ask her properly. I know you mean well and you do have a point, but please be a little more thoughtful next time. Go think about it for a while.
By some miracle, the whole discussion ends right there. Rebecca elects to stay silent, or at least it's how it seems a minute or two passes and she says nothing. A rare occurrence when she almost always has something on her mind. Only an uneasy atmosphere hangs in the air when I finally decide to remove myself from the room. She doesn't stop me. Instead, something inexplicable flickers momentarily in her eyes. One that quickly disappears until only a vague notion of it remains in memory. By that one exchange, I've got a short, clear glimpse of what has shifted, of what's inevitable. So much has changed throughout the years. You will never be the same person you once were, and if it's for the better, we've yet to know. A lull has descended in the main lounge once I return. Cheese nowhere to be seen, people continue to trickle out instead of in, and by the time I get back, only 2 tables remain occupied. Soon these people too will be gone, and the whole place will be devoid of anyone. Frankly, its current state already lends the place an entirely different vibe. Along with the soothing strum of strings and the steady beat of drums playing overhead, there's a calming sense to this. A far cry from times I've been here before. And perhaps it's for this reason why Isabella has chosen this place to retreat. She sits quietly in the furthest corner of the room, in one of the tables set right beside the windows. She usually keeps the curtains closed around this hour, but a small portion of it has been pulled back, revealing the busy street outside. The late afternoon light spills right through it, outlining her small form and pulling on the surface of the table, where both her arms rest. In her hands, there flips a piece of folded paper, going from one side to the other without any purpose. The letter. A small frown creases her forehead while she stares at it. There's something oddly tranquil in the pictures she has unknowingly painted. Something I can't bring myself to disturb, if only for a few seconds. It's one of those moments again. The rare ones, the ones where she's too still, too quiet. A complete opposite of her usually self. But it's these that often leave a mark. Not her cheery disposition or her lively attitude, but these short, few seconds of wordless silence, when the softest sighs and the slightest movements sing louder. The smallest, minuscule thing that tell you about a person, and his strength more than any word can express. It's these that carve a vivid memory, no matter how brief it lasts. She glares at me, annoyed, and just like that, all of it melts away. Gone is the stillness, replaced quickly by teasing and friendly jibes. Back again to what we're used to, what's easy, what's familiar, but every truth you hope to comfy regrettably goes unsaid between us.
You're going to destroy an important piece of evidence if you keep doing that, Belle.
But she's far from angry. A bit upset, maybe? Who wouldn't be? While I do agree with Rebecca, her words still hit below the belt. Regardless, Isabel doesn't seem like she'll start shouting at me. At least compared to every other people I've aggravated intentionally or otherwise. Some night talk may just do the trick and coax her out of this mood.
Come on. If you keep staring at the table like that, you're going to bore a hole on it. I really don't want to OG a new table. He'll pick the most expensive one and leave me begging on the streets.
She throws a quick glance at me, her expression dry and impassive enough to drain every color out of the room. It's as if I've just told her a terrible joke and she's expecting there'll be more of it. Really now? She needs to give me more credit than that. My jokes are funny when I want them to be.
And I really don't care. I'd even take pictures and post them online. Go away, Ash. I don't want to talk right now.
Yet it sounds half-hearted at best. Like what's happening has already sapped every bit of energy in her. And what's left are the words. Pretty soon those two will lose their meaning and leave a hollow shell in their wake. It's very unusual to see her like this. Everything's already gone to shit. I like at least this one thing to stay normal. So somehow we manage. We continue for the better half of the hour. Talking, joking, with her short, feeble response to the bomb that never goes anywhere. But it's enough. In the grand scheme of things, amidst the chaos and death shadowing over us, it's these little inconsequential moments that matter. It's her smile, her laughter when it finally rings easy and free of her burdens.
Okay, I have another one.
I don't want to hear it, Ashton. Go away.
No, really, listen. I know someone who talks like an owl.
Will you leave me alone if I bite and ask who?
It paused, and then she frowns, a realization slowly dawns on her. Confusion flashes fleetingly across her face before eventually settling on a grimace.
Oh.
Suddenly, she hugs her arms close to herself and looks away, perhaps in the best attempt to stay angry. To no avail. In a matter of seconds, his shoulder shakes with laughter she's trying to contain.
You're awful and I really hate you. Just leave.
It's contagious, her mirth. Soon I'm joining her in it, briefly forgetting every problem that has piled up and continues to weigh down on us. Laughing without reservations or care, until only a familiar warmth lingers, once both our amusements ebbs away. Somehow with her, these things have always come easy.
Feeling better?
A little. You're still lame.
But you're laughing right now.
Only because your humor is terrible.
Right. Keep telling yourself that. I know it's funny. And you know what? If you've kept frowning like that, your face might have cracked. That would have been really messy and ugly.
If glass can kill, with the one she sends my way, I'll probably be dead by now. Seeing it directed my way, it takes only a few quick seconds for me to realize how she might have also taken my statement. How long and rude it might have sounded in her ears. However unintentionally it is. Sorry, Isabella. I've never been good with words, but that's never an acceptable excuse, is it? Suddenly, taking the brunt of her anger seems less complicated than correcting or explaining myself. Nevertheless, I try.
What? Crap. Damn it, that was so not what I meant. I was just saying you look better when you're smiling.
Her glare doesn't even wane. In fact, I think it intensified like the brewing storm. In the face of it, on the sharpness of her stare and her annoyance, do what any person with a good sense of self-preservation does. Keep my mouth shut and shift my attention elsewhere. The crowd outside looks very interesting today. Maybe I should.
Thanks, Ash.
She does all of it in a voice too small, too quiet. But when I turned to her, only those words, the gratitude, resonated throughout the whole room. Not the soft clinging of silverware somewhere, nor the last strains of music fading into silence above us. Instead, it's the meaning behind her gaze as she holds mine that lingers. Steady, unflinching and open, in the same way she looked at me all those years ago, with bright eyes and an expression softening into a tender smile. I didn't understand it then, how easy it is for her to wear her heart on her sleeve. How she never shies away from expressing herself, even among people she barely knows. How she can go through everything without losing herself. Now it's among the hundreds, the thousands that hang unspoken between us. Trivial little things with words still too big to put into words. Either because it's too early, or because they are never really a proper time. For now it's all this'll do, until the moment itself dwindles, until reality pulls us back in, reminding us of the things we've set aside in its favor.
Isabella, about what happened with Rebecca earlier.
I should probably apologize to Becca. I know she only means well. And I said some really bad things.
The corners of her mouth quirks up, almost as if she's too ashamed of the things she said.
Don't worry, she can be pretty stubborn, but she'll listen, especially to you.
You think?
Because Zach won't be with us anymore.
What? Oh, you're one of the people she likes.
She won't stay angry for long, I can vouch for it.
I think there was a glitch in the audio. She has a point though. Isabella freezes in an instant. The pleasant air around us dissipates. She shifts her attention back to her hands again, both clenched so tightly that her knuckles visibly pale.
I know, Ash. I just thought we'd find something in there. That if I go back, we'll get the answers we need.
I had the same idea.
I found the letter there, so maybe, right?
It's not what I don't agree with her. Hell, I've been considering the same thing. It's the only lead we have after all. But Rebecca also has a point I will always agree with. No matter how desperate I am, it's not going to be simple walking the park. Who knows what we might find in there? If she comes with me, I won't be able to guarantee her safety. She'll be even greater danger. Hence, alone. Exactly as I have told Zach. If there's a need to go back to that accursed place, I'm doing it on my own. Whether or not the rest of them agree with this plan is inconsequential. Their well-being is my top priority, and I'm not just about to drag them in there with me. So I tell her as much, despite her determination and desperation in her eyes. And even to keep her safe.
I can't let you do that, Belle.
Ash, the people living in that place now, they were with me during the open house. They have to know. They're in as much trouble as we are.
I know, but it's risky. It's dangerous. We don't know what you might find in there. Or if you'll even find anything. What if you see her again? What if she goes after you? What are you going to do? For all we know, it might be a dead end. It's not worth it to put yourself in harm's way like that.
She offers no response, not even a form of resistance. No further argument like I have come to accept from her. Uncharacteristic. Just a silence that stretches far too thin, till the air in the whole room grows heavy. In front of her hands still stay curled up, like it's holding on to everything she wishes to say but can't. I like to think that, yes, to some extent she understands, even if she does not entirely agree with me. The dilemma's clear in her. Otherwise, her scowl wouldn't have a deeper set to it. Her lips wouldn't be pressed in a thin line, or her hand would no longer be balled into fists. She would have pushed that argument if she doesn't, and I know she has no lack of things to say. Instead, she simply offers a nod, and a quask, and in a moment of boldness, perhaps insolence, I reach out for her, take her clenched fists in mine, drawing them closer to me. She sucks in her breath, soft and sharp, but doesn't say anything, merely watching as both my hands cradle hers. Cautious, mindful, as it is, it's the most precious thing I've held. Then again, maybe it is, along with everything I've yet to comfy.
Stop that.
Surprisingly, although the gesture has startled her, she yields, allows a touch that is far too familiar and more than what I'm willing to give most.
You're going to hurt yourself if you keep doing that.
Gently I unfurl her fingers, flattening out each digit against my palms. Her nails have already created small dents on her skin. From outside she has held it close. Little more and she would have drawn blood. Deep as it is, smoothing it down both the tiny marks does nothing. But it's a small gesture we both find comfort in amidst these chaos, and all at once the tension lifts. Her expression softens, the lines of her shoulders ease, and it's only after her lips curve up in a faint smile I let go. Giving her hand one last squeeze before returning it to her. Part of me wants to tell her, admit it's exactly what I'm planning tonight. What good will it do to? I've already told Zach, one person's enough. Hell, simply letting someone in onto the plan makes me iffy. Broadening that circle and revealing too much will just cause another pointless concern. But someone has to be aware, at least of where I'm heading off to, in case things don't pan out. Expect the worst, even if I've only intended to do a quick survey of the place. In my own words, risky. It's better that I simply leave it as it is for now. Isabel doesn't need to be burdened with the worry my entire scheme entails. I stand up as soon as footsteps shuffle from the next room, its cadence slow and hesitant. Shortly Rebecca comes into view, clutching her hands firmly in front of her and spoiling the same uncertainty in her face. She casts me a cursory look, then shifts a nervous one to Isabella, who studies her with an almost hopeful gleam in her eyes. Their fight never did last long.
Belle, can we talk? Alone?
Her interruption could not have come sooner, and I am all the more glad for it. Whatever kind of friendship I share with the two, this remains something for only the two of them, much like my own with Zach. I'm the outsider. They don't need me here. It's all the reason I need. Muttering excuse and flashing Isabella a quick, knowing smile, I beat a hasty exit out of the main lounge and leave them to mend things on their own. Before Isabella can say what she's been mulling over, before the last imploring glance she directs my way forces me to change my mind. It's not a lasting image that firmly etches itself in my memory, one that spurs the conscience among other things. I just hope I won't regret what I've chosen for myself tonight. Galway Charles Monday's night crowd, although small and barely occupies a quarter of the whole pub, provides ample enough cover for anyone who wishes to leave the place unnoticed. Just exactly what I need tonight, with the lively music and chatter, slipping out mostly unseen becomes a piece of a cake. Without much trouble, soon enough, I found myself standing outside under the chilly Luxbourne night. A gust of wind picks up shortly after I stepped out, carrying the telltale smell of impending rain. I give it about an hour or two before it starts. From the looks of it, tonight will be another downpour, maybe even stronger than the one we've had this morning. On instinct, I hunched further into my jacket, hawking its fake material close to my body, while I weave my way through the lines of empty cars in the parking lot. The letter crinkles in my pocket with each step I take, so I paid no mind as I hurried towards my car. I've nicked it minutes ago from Isabella's belongings on my way out. If this is all connected, I need this damn piece of paper with me. However ridiculous it sounds, I'm quite sure it won't be missed either, but I can't waste time here and wait for her to find out, can I? 4 hours is all I'm giving myself to get this done. 3 if I'm inclined to go by Rule C's man said. But when have I ever? Regardless of how generous that is, each second just as important as the next. So I hurry, one footstep over the other, echoing as I make a beeline for my car. As with every plan, problems crop up at the last second. It's practically a universal rule. And it does, in the form of a lone figure waiting for me next to my car. Rebecca turns, just as I near. Wasn't she just talking with Isabella, Tom? Rebecca turns just as I near, the corner of her mouth twitching up in a wry smile. She offers no greeting except for a slight tilt of her head. Even as my pace slows and I look at her with all the unvoiced questions in my eyes, she remains wordless, merely throwing her head back and shifting her attention up at the starless sky when I come up to stand beside her. Another gust of wind blows as she breathes out a sigh, very big with something close to resignation. The breeze carries all of it away, while she hugs her arms close to herself to keep warm, which raises the question why she's out here. The air's already heavy with the promise of rain, with clouds obscuring the view. There's really nothing left to look at but the dark blanket of nothingness. Still, she stands as if she's intentionally waiting for everything to fall. That or she's here for some other reason. But before I can voice a single word, express disapproval of any kind, she raises a holding hand at me, sharply cutting off the rest of my question.
I'm not here to stop you, wherever it is you're planning to go off tonight. I won't be able to anyway. You look like you've already made up your mind.
Go back inside. It's going to rain soon. It'll probably be even heavier than the downpour we had this morning. You wouldn't want to be caught in it.
I will, in a moment. I just want to stay out here a bit for some air, away from the noise inside. Everything's been so chaotic these days. This little break is nice, even if it means standing in the middle of a parking lot, of all places. Getting out of this mess would definitely be better, but hey, you take what you can get, right?
It'll be over soon.
The confidence in my own words surprises even me. How do I know? Why am I so sure? And in truth, what I'm about to do is a last-ditch effort. If this fails, if I don't find anything, we're back to square one. It's the last lead I have. After this, we have nothing else to go off from. Regardless, it seems to amuse her, and her laughter soon sounds above the murmur of the distant traffic, and the light drops sweeping around us.
How I wish. I'll be content as long as she stops showing up in my mind whenever I close my eyes.
I think that may take some time. The brain doesn't easily forget trauma.
I can try. But, you know, it also did a lot to us.
Tell me about it. The back of my head's still smarting from my fall last night.
Not that kind. I'm talking about us. As people. I hate to admit it, but this whole deal with the ghost, with the curse, it also brought out an ugly side to us. To all of us. And it made me realize plenty of things. About myself, about us.
Rebecca trails off. Suddenly a pensive expression spreads across her face. I see it countless of times before, and every time I see it in her, it's usually followed by memory, a silly story or even something embarrassing I've said from childhood. Unlike me, who much rather forget, she remembers each of them so easily. And after a short bout of silence, when she smiles, I notice one of those times again.
Do you remember that one time, back in secondary?
Which one? We did a lot of dumb things back then. Well, I did, but you get the point.
Mandy.
I thought you still don't like her. Don't tell me you've kept in contact with her. Are you guys friends now or something?
Oh no. We do see each other sometimes. On the way to work or when I go out for lunch, but it's nothing like that. We're not friends. Not in this lifetime. I don't think so. I don't think we'll ever get along, but if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't even be friends, yeah? You stood up for me that day. And from then on, things have changed.
She makes it sound like I'm some sort of hero. Manuel's in the wrong, of course I'll defend her. If no one's going to stand up for her, who else will? Chances are it will have escalated, and who knows? Maybe she would have stopped going to school or transferred. Any decent human being with an ounce of sense should know better. I acted because I know what I'm doing is what's right. It's as simple as that. Yet she smiles as if it's worth more than that. A fondness that goes beyond nostalgia.
I guess what I'm trying to get at is, this time, I don't want this to go unsaid. You know, just in case something happens. Ash.
Is she going to declare her love for him?
I've always been in love with you.
She said so plainly, while my gaze on in a voice so frank that her admission stuns me into silence. Like the wind has suddenly been knocked out of me in one fell swoop. No words will form, not even a single coherent thought that has the meaning of her words bear down on me. Nevertheless, she continues, desperate to express everything she has kept to herself all these years. This is what the fondness is. Why, for her, it weighs heavier than any feelings of nostalgia can carry.
Since that time in secondary, since I made that promise to never leave, I've always truly loved you.
Afterwards, as relief, a weight suddenly being lifted from her shoulders after so long. She closes her eyes and lets out a breath. When she looks back to me, though, there's something but hope in them. Eyes are searching for an answer. The sincerity behind the words, I find myself grasping, scrambling for the words. Because as much as this pains me to admit, I can't give the same affection she's asking from me. We might have spent so many years alongside each other. Hell, we practically grew up together. But that never automatically means I'll ever hold for her feelings that goes beyond the boundaries of friendship. I do appreciate her presence in my life. I'm more than glad she has stuck with me even through the toughest moments, even when she finds me difficult or aggravating. However, it's really all there is to it. She's a close, important friend to me, but nothing more.
Rebecca,
I draw in a breath, ragged, unsure, uncertain how and which words to put together, so it will hurt her less, so the wounds they might have leave won't be as deep or scar. So before I can even string two phrases together, she lifts her hand to my mouth and silences me. A smile on her face, kinder than every single one I've seen from her so far. It's nice to see it on her. It suits her more than the glares or all the frowns. But at the same time, it only serves to baffle me.
You don't have to answer me.
yeah, but you should... I should...
No, I mean, you don't need to.
Okay, now I'm really confused. One moment you're saying you've been in love with me since secondary, now you're telling me to shut up?
If you want to interpret it like that, all right.
No, really. Some explanation would be nice, Becca. Because a lot of things are going on right now, and I'm afraid I can't catch up. Especially with this curveball you just threw.
It means what it means, Ashton. You don't need to answer me. I don't really need to hear it anymore. It's not that I don't want to. Believe me, if I were the same person I was before this whole thing happened to us, I'd be elated, excited even. But like I said, I also realized some things, understood myself more. Ash, I did love you. Ever since we were kids, all those times you defended me from bullies. I don't think that's going to change anytime soon, even after this. But at the end of the day, once you take a closer look at everything, it also turned me into a really selfish person. When you think about it, maybe the Ashton I loved isn't the one standing in front of me right now. Maybe all this time, I'm still clinging on to that aloof kid I met 17 years ago. I didn't even consider that you have a mind of your own. That one day, it won't just be the two of us. That you'll find someone else and it won't be me.
I'm sorry, Becca.
Not even sure what I'm apologizing for. That I can't return her feelings? Or because I'm somehow holding myself responsible for this, even if up until now I have no idea how she felt. Regardless, she continues to smile through all of it.
It's not your fault. Don't say that. I'm the one who should apologize. Since I suddenly sprung this up on you when you have other things to do, I just thought I should let you know, so I can finally let this whole thing go. One question though, are you going to tell her?
Tell what to who?
I pause, frowning. Brief moment of doubt while I try to figure out what she's talking about all of a sudden. When it finally sinks into, my bewilderment hastily gives way to utter embarrassment.
Oh.
She knows, dude.
Oh, shit.
Heat abruptly crawls up my face, no matter my efforts to keep it down. In the end, I can only look away from her, afraid of what else she'll see in it.
Did you really think no one would notice?
I think you did.
Was it that obvious?
It was surprisingly easy to tell, but that was probably because I've known you longer than anyone.
Fuck, who else knows?
I think Zach suspects.
Shit.
You're embarrassingly lame when you're trying too hard. It's almost painful to watch. Don't worry. With your terrible way of flirting and knowing her, I'm quite sure Belle has no idea, even now. Not even a clue.
Harsh, Rebecca. Really harsh. I could use a vote of confidence, you know.
She laughs loud, the kind that's free of any burden, being above the wind slowly picking up as the storm clouds approach. With it, however, the awkward atmosphere lifts at last. There's only the camaraderie we've shared since meeting in that classroom 17 years ago.
I'm serious though. Tell her. And if you ever make her cry, I'll hit you with every damn history book I have on my shelf. Clear?
Every single book she's going to hit him with. Are you going to hit him with like every book, the many pages of, like get it really in there, you know? You can learn a few things.
Noted, ma'am.
Anyway, thanks for hearing me out. I won't keep you long. I know you have things to do. Just promise me you'll be careful, alright?
She doesn't wait for an answer. Instead, she gives me a push with a force only heavy enough to throw me off balance. Caught unawareness by the gesture for a few moments, I fight for a purchase against my car's trunk, placing my hand on its smooth surface. Then I look up with a string of reprimands ready at the tip of my tongue, my back already halfway through the parking lot. There's a small skip in her step, while the breeze carries the light tune she's whistling. On a whim, I let its notes be the last thing I commit to memory before slipping inside my car and driving off. It sounds like a new beginning, more than anything. Another reason to be optimistic. Within 10 minutes, I'm driving out of Luxbourne and heading straight up for Anston village. In the distance, flashes of lightning light up the horizon, wide and sharp against the black curtain of the night. Thunder threatens with a rumble, seconds later echoing long across the sky. And with one last roar, the sky opens in earnest. November 1, Tuesday. Oh, wow.